Okay, so I wanted to make just a quick breakdown. I've been working on Rey's staff from The Force Awakens, Star Wars, and I think I came out with a pretty good results here. But I wanted to show you how I did it and what each segment, how I completed each segment before I spray painted it, because then you wouldn't be able to see the differences. So I finished all the building part, and later on I'm going to spray it, but let me explain how I got to this point. All right, first things first is I started with two different sizes, of PVC pipe. This one here, the smaller one, is 1/2 inch, and this larger one is a full inch. What I did then is I took references of her staff, and I just kind of did a rough sketch of how big I wanted it to be. Her staff's a little taller than herself, so keep that in mind, and then just kind of break down each segment to the size you need. Then I use this guy, and the thinner piece here runs throughout the entire staff. So it's really going to give you stability in these segments here. They're not just stacked on top of each other. There's actually this pipe running through it, which is good. Okay, so each piece here, let me just start from the beginning here. I actually started with this odd, I think they look like fins. This piece here, what this is, and this is how the pattern goes. I finally figured this out. It's 1, and then parallel 2, 1, parallel 2. So there's a total of 6 of those fins. But what I did is I just covered the thinner piece of your PVC pipe with Worbla, and then I made fins using EVA foam and covered that with Worbla there. This one was a little too big, so I had to redo them. But then you just kind of stick them on. And while Worbla is pretty good about holding things together, when I put wood glue over that, it's going to give it more strength. So that's how I did this piece here. This one is a piece I found in the PVC section. It's actually just one of these. This one's a little too small, but that's all it was. It was this, and then I cut it real short, and I ended up dremeling around the edges here to give it more of a little bit of a hill shape, I guess. I'm also going to smooth that out with wood glue and everything, but that's what it looks like at the moment. Now these segments here with the smaller fins, I guess, these were interesting to kind of figure out. What I ended up doing though, and this worked out really great for me, all you need is a shot glass, and you can get whatever you can find, lids of any sort that have that shape to it, and I just covered it with Worbla, melted it around the top, pretty much just made a shot glass shape. And then I did some detailing by cutting around it and then attaching. So this one here I just attached with smaller pieces of Worbla that I just cut into a specific shape. Make sure when you're doing the Worbla, if you do end up doing this, you use 2 layers of Worbla because it's going to give it more stability. Otherwise it's going to be flexible, and you don't want that. This piece here was pretty similar to this. I ended up using this is a top for a bottle for a baby. It has a rounder shape to it, but after I took it off, I still had to mold it to be just a little bit more round. Make sure if you do that though, and you put the Worbla on here, wait till the Worbla is completely dry before trying to take it off. Otherwise it's gonna end up kind of bending with it, and you don't want that. So this little gear, I wanna say, that was just EVA foam. This cheap stuff, everybody knows EVA foam, craft foam. I just cut that shape I wanted out of it, and I just covered it with Worbla, stuck it on. And then I don't know if you can see this here, but there's little ridges, just small detailing. I just did that by heating up the Worbla and pushing it. It'll just give it something, so when I paint it, it'll get some weathering in there. All right, this piece was an odd piece, and I didn't do it 100% correctly, but that's okay. You could do it better. So I just dremeled out this shape here and just put Worbla on the inside. It's an odd piece there, but hers, I did find out, is a lot bigger than that. But, that's okay. It still has, the staff in its whole has the same silhouette as hers, so I don't mind too much. But you can actually cut that out bigger to have it more like hers. Okay, the top pieces, again, just pieces of Worbla. This one here has EVA foam in it to give it more bulk, and there's actually caps for the PVC pipe that I just covered with Worbla and stuck on top there to kind of finish that off. Let's see, what else? Oh, this piece here, this is just a jump rope. It's like that plasticky jump rope. I got it from the dollar store. So just wrapped it around tightly, used some super glue, did that. These are the bigger pieces of PVC. And these parts were actually great. I have them in many sections. I have it here, 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 and they're actually underneath. Sorry, I keep moving back and forth. They're actually underneath these domes too. There's a, I don't know if you can even tell, but if you look through there, I already spray painted it black, but they're underneath there too to give the spacing I want. This was interesting to figure out. So I just cut the segments I wanted, and then I dremeled to give it more of a, just a shape here that looks more natural than just a straight cut. You can keep it a straight cut if you want. But what I had to do, so here's one I was working on. I used EVA foam and I put it on, I just super glued 4 sides there. They were just long strips. I super glued them in there, and what that did is it made it first off tight around this 1/2-inch PVC pipe, but it also made it so you have to do all 4 sides. Don't do just 2, because otherwise it could scoot off center. But yeah, it made it so it just stuck there where I wanted to, and then I reinforced it with super glue once it was in the right spot. When I did that, there were some holes. I just put some silicone, that's it. That's all I used is some regular silicone, just squeezed it in there, took my finger and smoothed it out. And it fills those holes. And you can actually see too, this thing's so big. I used it on other parts too, just to kind of get rid of some of those gaps. Here and here. I have to do a couple more pieces, but that's that. And then I think the only other piece we really haven't talked about is this one. And this was fairly easy too. This was just a piece of PVC, and I covered it with 2 layers of Worbla, and then I just kind of had fun and pressed some detailing into it. Just heated it up and then pressed that in there, and it came out pretty cool. Oh, one last thing. This piece, and this is not an exact replica of her staff, but like I said, it has the silhouette of her staff, so I'm fine with it. This guy here is not the same as this one. There's some holes here. What I did is I just bought a really small hole puncher. These are circular. I couldn't find a square one, but I'm sure if you looked online, you might be able to actually find a square one. I did, however, though, heat it up a little bit and tried to square them out a bit. I think that's going to be just the way it looks. It's going to be a little bit more round, but I think that worked out okay. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I think that this project, believe it or not, if you haven't worked with Worbla before, you might want to test it out a bit because Worbla is just a different material. But overall, the project, it looks bad, but I think even if you're a beginner, you could figure it out. And it's going to be a really popular costume for conventions and Halloween and everything. So if you do it, send us pictures, or if you figure out better ways to do things, let us know. Yeah, and I'll give you updates when it's actually completed. So thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe and like this video, and we'll give you some more good stuff. Thanks so much.